All right, we are doing check for understanding number 1. Before you guys do check for understanding number 1, I want you to do and just read through on your own example 1, which is this one. Okay, I want you to read through the question, read through the solution, and make as best a sense you can of it since I'm not there. So press pause right now and get ready to do check for understanding number 1 once you are finished reading it. Okay, welcome back. Here's check for understanding number 1. We're going to do question A first. X cubed minus 3x squared. Now, I've got a table of values I've started already, and I also have that chart that we talked about on a previous page, talking about odd degree polynomials, because this is a power of 3. So for this question, we're looking at the odd degree, odd exponent, and the lead coefficient is a positive 1 in front of x cubed. So we're concentrating on this top part of the table to help us graph it. Also, before I get in too closely, I'll also notice that for an x cubed graph, we're talking about 2 critical points. I'm going to sketch a little approximation up here. We're talking about a max and a min, or also called a hill, one hill, and one valley. And I drew it like this because if I look down at my chart, it says positive lead coefficient. As x is small to the left, the graph falls to the left. So that's the way I drew it. It falls to the left. And as x gets bigger to the right, the graph rises to the right. So I have a sense of that general shape of this graph before I even start. And I'll use my table to help me get it really accurate. So I'm going to start with the y-axis intercept. X is 0. So on my table, I need to find out what this y value is. This y value, when x is 0, would be 0 cubed minus 3 zeros squared, which is obviously 0. So I'll label that point right here at the origin. Okay, another point. When x is 2. When x is 2, we'd get 2 cubed, 8, minus 3 times 2 squared, 4, so that's 12. 8 minus 12 is a negative 4. So let's fill that in right here. Let's plot that. Well, we'll plot all the points at the end. 1, when x is 1, 1 cubed minus 3 1 squared. That becomes negative 2. Type that in. Negative 1. Negative 1 cubed is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. So we have minus 3. And it's a negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Negative 1 minus 3. And then negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times 3, that'd be minus 12. And we have a negative 8. Negative 8 minus 12 is a negative 20. So let's just plot those points. 2, negative 4 would go right here. 1, negative 2, we'll plot that right here. You should be drawing this with me now. We have 0, 0 already sketched. Negative 1, negative 4, negative 1, negative 4 right here. And negative 2, negative 20. So that'll fall off my page a bit, but that's okay. But I'll go negative 2 and then way down here somewhere, negative 20. And I have a decent sense of what this graph's going to look like. I got it falling to the left, but I don't have anything rising to the right. So I'm going to actually come up with a couple more numbers just to make sure of that. Okay, so I need a couple more bigger x values, like 3 or 4. So I'm going to pick 4. So here we go. So I'm going to, in my chart, expand it over here. So x of 4. Okay, when x is 4, I'm going to go and use my calculator here. So I've got 4, what's the name of the function here? 4 cubed minus 3 times 4 squared. That equals 16. Okay, that's better. We'll close that now. 16. So on my chart, let's write that in here. 16. Let's plot that point. 4, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. 16 would be off the page. But now I am quite confident as to what this curve is going to look like. I have the general shape from the beginning, and I have found some points to help draw it more accurately. Remember, this is a sketch. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it should be quite close. So I'm drawing this freehand here at home, so you'll be patient with me. Not bad, not bad. Up through that point. Boom. How does that look? Put the arrows on to suggest it continues. Notice it falls left and rises right. I'm going to double check my answer on the calculator. I've got it typed in already. And graph, how's that? Is that close? Looks pretty good. Okay, you can press stop and carry on to the second sketch.